Hi, I'm Claire Laughlin, and my passion and expertise is helping you build happy, high functioning, and highly effective teams and organizations because no one deserves to be miserable at work. So let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about everyone's favorite topic, the breakdown of trust. We've all felt it. We know it's there. We know when it's happening. And yet sometimes it is so hard to sort of understand what's going on. So we're going to talk about that today. As an organizational effectiveness consultant, I have a front row seat week in and week out to the dynamics that draw teams together and the dysfunction that dissipates trust and diminishes teams' effectiveness over time. We don't want that. So we're going to talk today about what makes that true. You might think that trust gets diminished because some team members are more capable than others, or because some are just more kind and empathetic, and some are less kind and less empathetic. Some are better at relationships and some are worse. But that's not normally the case. I mean, sometimes it's the case, but not normally. We're all just human. And ultimately, we're all driven by underlying needs and feelings. And we're driven to experience connection and understanding and safety with each other. That is what we are looking for. And when those things get threatened, we strange things happen, and we can get defensive and we can react badly, and that is usually how trust begins to be diminished. So what really gets in the way? Let's unpack this a little bit. You might think clearly it's the other person's behavior that gets in the way. That's what we all want to think. In fact, it's like this compulsion that we have to focus on what the other person is doing, and we just fixate in on how they're behaving or what they're doing or not doing or saying or not saying. And it's that fixation almost that starts to negatively impact our ability to see the situation clearly, take things at face value, and enter into the interactions with integrity and the trustworthiness that allows us to build trust in hard situations. That's what we want. Okay. So we don't want to miss the fact that our reactions to other people can very much be part of the problem and part of the solution. So let me explain this. I've got a little graphic for you. I'm going to share my screen for a moment. I'm going to unpack this dynamic for you. This is called the diminishing cycle of trust. This is what I call the diminishing cycle of trust. And what you'll see here is there's a triggering event here at the top of this diminishing cycle. And the triggering event is just something that happens. It can be anything. It can be a conversation. It can be something you overhear. It can be whatever, an email. It can be all kinds of things. So there's a triggering event. And that event then causes in you, let's say, a negative or hostile interpretation. Okay, so you take that event and you filter it through a filter that's sort of like, there's some hostility going on here, or there's something negative happening. There's something that is against me that's going on. And because of that interpretation, you respond defensively. Okay, and your response then begins to diminish trust. Okay, so let me give you an example. Imagine that one of your colleagues reaches out to one of your star team members and talks to that person about joining their team. Okay, and you get wind of this. You've heard that this is happening. So that's the triggering event, the rumor that you hear. Okay, you hear that your colleague is doing this. So you start to imagine what could be happening. And your imagination doesn't take you to happy places. Your imagination says, well, this person might be trying to steal my star team member. I just got my team all settled. We're doing great. Oh, this person is competitive. I've seen them do this before. This is not good. Okay. So your brain fires up with these kind of negative interpretations. And you're not sure how to respond exactly. So what you do is you send your colleague a Teams message, a chat on Teams, and you say, Hey, I heard you were talking to one of my star team players. What are you, a corporate raider? So you basically call a name. You respond with sarcasm. And that response itself becomes a trigger for the other person. And now trust is being diminished. Okay. So instead of doing that, we want to turn this situation around. We want to do it differently. Let me show you here. This is called the virtuous cycle of trust. So let me show you this one. In the virtuous cycle of trust, you see the triggering event down here at the bottom of the cycle. It's the same triggering event, but we're going to explain it a little bit differently. Instead of responding with that same kind of defensiveness, what you're going to do is you're going to catch yourself and you're going to suspend that interpretation of the event. And instead, you're going to just wait. You're going to be like, hang on, I'm not sure what's going on. You're going to respond instead with openness and curiosity, and you're going to go in for a direct conversation. All right. So now in this cycle, trust can be enhanced. So let me just walk you through this. Same triggering event. You hear that your colleague has reached out to one of your star team players. But what you do instead is you go, I wonder what's going on there. Even if you catch yourself and you say, wait a minute, I'm formulated a negative judgment here. I'm thinking that this is a problem. I'm getting defensive. You catch yourself. You're self-aware. You catch yourself and you regulate and you say to yourself, yeah, I'm just going to go find out. I'm going to go ask. I'm going to be curious. So you don't send a Teams message. You call the person on the phone or you see them face to face and you say, hey, I heard that this was going on. Tell me more. What's going on here? What are you doing? And so does that mean that everything's going to turn out roses? Not necessarily. But at least in this event, what you've done is you've shown up with integrity, you've shown up as trustworthy, and you've been direct and clear in your communication. Okay. So at the end of the day, you are being trustworthy, and that is worth its weight in gold. Okay. So next time you're caught in one of these cycles, I want you to remember that the way you respond to any given situation out there can contribute to the diminishment of trust or the enhancement of trust. You are part of the trust solution. Okay. So thanks for watching. Please feel free to share this video with others and subscribe so you'll get trust tips and relationship tips all the time. Thanks so much. See you next time.